Yes, what's good everybody? Welcome back to NFL Daily here on Chat Sports TV. I'm your host, Nick Dais, at The Lamb Show on all social media outlets. Before we get started with this video, make sure you are a subscriber to the YouTube channel, youtube.com/Chat Sports TV. Here on NFL Daily today, we are going to give the Dais dozen, the 12 teams that I'm projecting as of week 4 conclusion to week 4. I have making the playoffs. Pretty much every single team has played 4 games, with the exception being the New York Jets and the San Francisco 49ers, who had bye weeks in week 4. These are the 12 teams that I have projected going to the playoffs for both the NFC and the AFC. Kicking us off, my number 1 seed in the NFC, none other than the current 2-2 second place team in the NFC East. That is the Philadelphia Eagles. The Eagles currently have the 10th easiest strength of schedule in the NFC. They're going to get some guys back that they lost to nagging injuries to start the year. Guys like Alshon Jeffrey, who came back in that Thursday night football game. Going to get some help on that offensive line. Seem to have found a running back in Jordan Howard that could provide that power back that he was in Chicago to play off of guys like Darren Sproles and guys like the rookie Miles Sanders from Penn State. Also going to get guys like Deshaun Jackson back. And I think they could be in the running for a guy like Jalen Ramsey or Patrick Peterson come trade deadline in the NFL. With that being said, the next 5 games for the Philadelphia Eagles are kind of difficult depending on how you feel about some of these teams. They're at home against the Jets as a double-digit favorite this weekend. At Minnesota, at Dallas, at Buffalo. One of the rare stretches in the NFL where you play 3 consecutive road games. Then they're home to the Chicago Bears. As of today, plus 120 are the odds for the Philadelphia Eagles to win the division. So if you are buying what I'm saying, that seems like a good bet when you're looking at the value there, because you're going to get plus money. $100 wins you $120. If you think the Eagles can be a 1 seed, like I do, that should be something that you should pull the trigger on. One of the things the Eagles are going to have to do is get through the Dallas Cowboys. Still have 2 games remaining against their foe in the NFC East. So I want you guys to weigh in below. Who you got winning the NFC East? Type P-E for the Philadelphia Eagles and type D-C for the Dallas Cowboys. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Next up, my number 2 seed in the NFC, the San Francisco 49ers. Yes, folks, still you can get them as high as plus 250 to win their division, courtesy of BetDSI. All these odds are provided by BetDSI. The San Francisco 49ers had a bye last week, like we mentioned earlier below. They've only played 3 games, but they're one of the lone undefeated teams in the National Football League. They are the only undefeated team in the NFC. Their next 5 games are as followed: home to the Browns, at the Rams, at the Skins, home to the Panthers, at the Cardinals, and then they also have a home game against the Seahawks. I realistically see 4-1, 4-2 in those next 5 to 6 games for the San Francisco 49ers. The 14th easiest strength of schedule in the NFC. And they finally have a quarterback. Jimmy Garoppolo is starting to shake off some of those cobwebs from tearing his ACL just last season. I love the additions they've made on defense between Quan Alexander. Richard Sherman still seems to be getting it done. Nick Bosa in the draft. D Ford. These guys have addressed that defensive issue that they've had all these years. And they seem to be getting some production from guys on the outside. Dante Pettis still seems to be in the doghouse for Kyle Shanahan. But Debo Samuel on the outside, and of course, one of my favorite players in the NFL because he is a gigantic wrestling fan. Fun fact, I'm a big wrestling fan as well. George Kittle at the tight end position. And they seem to have a running back that is significantly underappreciated in Matt Breida. So I love what the San Francisco 49ers have done this year so far. If you are a San Francisco 49ers fan, you probably love this pick, and you'll definitely love the new 49ers exclusive YouTube channel. Go find it at youtube.com/49erstv and subscribe. The number 3 team in the NFC are the New Orleans Saints out of the NFC South. I have them currently as the 3 seed. Their next 5 games are as follows. They have a home game against the Bucs, at Jacksonville, at the Bears, home games against the Arizona Cardinals and the Atlanta Falcons. One of the biggest reasons why I like the Saints, despite having the Saints not as a playoff team coming into the season, is they've weathered the storm without one Drew Brees. Teddy Bridgewater has stepped in and has won 2 games that I chalked up as losses once Drew Brees hurt his thumb in Los Angeles against the Rams. They have the second easiest schedule in the NFC. They are also the biggest favorite at -185 of all the NFC division teams this year so far. And since they are surviving without Drew Brees, Teddy Bridgewater seems to be carrying the torch. He is one of the highest paid backups in the National Football League, and it is being validated, the decision that he made to stay in New Orleans and the decision the Saints did to keep Teddy Bridgewater in New Orleans. So that is my number 3 seed in the NFC. As we scroll on down a little bit more, the number 4 seed in the NFC comes from the North Division, of course, because every division winner is going to be one of the top 4 seeds. I have the Green Bay Packers. Currently, they are 3-1. They kind of have a tough stretch of games coming up here at Dallas, home to the Lions, home to the Raiders, at the Chiefs, at the Chargers. If they could go above 500, go 3-2 in these next 5 games, it'll bring the record to 6-3. And I think my sole reason for picking the Packers to win this division and to make the playoffs is because I am trusting the quarterback, and that is Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers, of all the 4 quarterbacks in that division, Kirk Cousins, Matthew Stafford, seems to be Chase Daniels now because Mitchell Trubisky has gotten hurt. He is the only quarterback that I trust in that division, and he is the most stable quarterback in that division. They do have the second best defense in that division. Shout out to my guy Brett for correcting me and checking me on that one. But I am basically betting on the Green Bay Packers because of the quarterback, number 12, Aaron Rodgers. Currently, they are plus 150 to win the NFC North Division. The 5 seed is, I'm going to cheat here, guys. This is my video, so I'm going to allow myself to cheat. I'm going to go with 2 teams as a 5 seed, and hear me out. I am stuck between picking the Rams and the Seahawks, and I think my big tiebreaker is what's going to happen in this Thursday night football game later tonight. So, as we look at the schedules here comes a 2-team comparison. Both teams are 3-1. The strength of schedule for the Rams is the 12th easiest in the NFC. The Seahawks have the 5th most difficult in the NFC. The Rams are the favorite to win this division at -149. Once again, courtesy of BetDSI. And the Seahawks are plus 350. The next 5 games for the Seattle Seahawks: home versus the Rams, obviously, at the Browns, home to the Ravens, at Falcons, home to the Bucs. And then the Rams, on the flip side, they're going into Seattle for Thursday Night Football. Then they're home to the Niners, at the Falcons, home to the Bengals, at the Steelers. So, which 2 teams in the NFC West are most likely to make the playoffs? Type A for the Rams, type SEA for the Seahawks, and type SF for the 49ers, because I do have 2 teams coming out of the NFC West to make the playoffs. The number 6 seed in the NFC are going to be the most shocking team, I think, the team that has absolutely surprised me so far this year, especially having 2 big wins over the LA Chargers and the Philadelphia Eagles, are the Detroit Lions. Currently 2-1-1, suffered their first loss last week of the season to the Kansas City Chiefs, which is, there's no shame in that. Pat Mahomes doing what MVP Pat Mahomes does at the end there. The odds to win their division is plus 800. Now, we're not picking them to win the division, but if you want to get crazy, make some money, $100 wins you $800. They have the second best QB in the division. Matthew Stafford, I think, is playing at a really high level this year. Last year, he had a back issue. He had like a broken back he was playing with. And I still think that they've made a lot of adjustments on that defense, brought in a ton of big names in free agency. Flowers coming over from the Patriots, and we know about Matt Patricia's ties to the defensive side of the football. The experience at QB, and I think they have arguably, not excluding the Bears, because the Bears have the best defense probably in the entire National Football League. I think the Packers and the Lions, it's a coin flip as to who has the best defense. I was really, really impressed with what they were able to do to Kansas City, and that was all without their shutdown corner, all-pro caliber corner, Darius Slay last week. So as you look at the schedule for the Lions, it's not going to be easy. At the Packers on Monday Night Football, home to the Vikings, at home to the Giants, at the Raiders, at Chicago. So we're going to have to see exactly how that's going to play out those next 5 games for the Detroit Lions. In the hunt, we got the Cowboys, the Rams, and the Chicago Bears. Pretty much all those teams are tied into what we have here, because it is still a long, long season to go. Shifting on over to the AFC, and this conference was a lot easier to set up, folks, because it is very, very top heavy. And we start at the top with the #1 seed, and I'm not really going out here on a limb. I'm going with the New England Patriots out of the AFC East. Currently, they are 4-0. Reason why is because the schedule is and has been a comedy show. 9th easiest schedule in the AFC, and they still have Tom Brady. They still have Bill Belichick there, and they still have at least 4 more wins in their division. You know, they got to play. Actually, they have 3 more wins because they're already 3-0 in their division, and now they're gonna have to go and play the Bills, the Dolphins, and the Jets once again. Pretty much one of the biggest keys to the Patriots' successes all these years is that they have a division that is not that good. So if you look at the next 5 games for the New England Patriots, at the Skins, home to the Giants on Thursday Night Football, at the Jets, home to the Browns, at the Ravens. They are minus 2,000 to win their division. That means you have to drop $2,000 to win $100 on them to win the AFC East. It is pretty much the most sure thing we've had in the National Football League over the last 2 decades, is the Patriots winning their division. I'm going to pull up a team-by-team comparison because it is the battle of 2 4-0 teams. We got the Patriots and the Chiefs. The biggest factor into who's going to host the AFC title game, potentially having the road go through their city, it's going to be that head-to-head meeting that they have December 8th, marquee game of the season, showdown. The winner of that is probably going to have home field advantage. I'm going to slightly lean to the Patriots because those Charger games are going to be difficult for the Kansas City Chiefs, because the Chargers are a team that know them pretty well, despite the Chiefs having their number the last couple of years. As we look at the strength of schedule, 5th hardest in the AFC do the Kansas City Chiefs have. We mentioned the Patriots having the 9th easiest schedule in the AFC. Odds to win their divisions, both are the biggest in the National Football League when it comes to them winning their division. And this is a nice little segue into my #2 seed, obviously the Kansas City Chiefs. Currently they are 4-0. The reasons why I like the Kansas City Chiefs is because, #1, they have arguably the best quarterback in football right now in Pat Mahomes. I think he's playing at a level that we haven't really seen at, where he's making all these throws. Last week in Detroit, cool, calm, and collected when he needed to. Yet another 4th down conversion. It's putting a knife in the opposing fans' hearts. They're doing all this without Tyreek Hill. Now, Tyreek Hill, off the field, different conversation. On the field, he is a sensational player. I think he is one of the most valuable wide receivers when it comes to what he can do for his team and what it opens up. And they're getting production from guys like Sammy Watkins. We know about Travis Kelce, but Mecole Hardman is emerging. DeMarcus Robinson as well. Shady McCoy looks rejuvenated. He's finally playing for a contender after being in Buffalo all these years. And he reunites with his former head coach, the guy who brought him to Philadelphia and into the NFL, Andy Reid. As you're looking at the Chiefs, their next 5 games, they got home against the Colts and the Texans. They're going to Denver, who at the moment, they're 0-4. Who knows what that situation is going to look like. Then they're home to the Packers and the Vikings. So 4 of their next 5 games are at home. They are minus 667, courtesy of BetDSI, to win their division. They are the 2nd biggest favorite in the NFL to win their division as we speak. So weigh in the comments below. Who do you got as the #1 seed in the AFC? Type P for the Patriots, type C for the Chiefs in the comments below. As we move on over to the #3 seed, coming out of the AFC South, I got the Houston Texans, currently 2-2 on the season. The reason why I like the Texans is, in my opinion, they have the best quarterback in the division in Deshaun Watson. And while everyone is pretty much 2-2, the Texans still have games for his division opponents that can go their way. Ultimately, they control their own fate. If you beat up on your division, chances are you're going to win your division. And their offensive line, for as much heat as they're getting, I've watched some tape on the Texans. It's not playing that bad. Watson is asked to take 5 and 7 step drops, and he's holding on to the rock for way too long. One thing that has made some of these teams so elite, like the Drew Brees and Saints of the world, like the Patriots all these years, is they compensate having bad offensive lines at times with quicker, short-hitting routes, concepts that allow you to get the ball out of your hands a lot quicker. And that's something that the Texans are not really utilizing to their advantage. So, in return, what happens? Deshaun Watson is getting hit more than any QB year in, year out. They have the second hardest schedule in the AFC. But what is making me side with the Texans is that they still have games in division that they could take care of their own business. And last year, that's exactly what they did. Over their next 5 games, home for the Falcons, at Kansas City, at Indianapolis, home against the Oakland Raiders. Shout out to my guy Mitchell Renz. At the Jacksonville Jaguars. Weigh in once again. Who do you have winning the AFC South, coming out of the AFC South? Do you have 2 teams? Also, let me know. If you guys have multiple teams coming out of a specific division, let us know in the comments below. This might be one of those divisions. The AFC North, I am not yet buying into the Cleveland Browns. So I have the Baltimore Ravens winning that division, 2-2 on the season. Lamar Jackson has really impressed me. And not for nothing, I was very skeptical about him coming into the year. Lamar Jackson hasn't really had a bad game. And he's been carrying his defense that is not the Baltimore Ravens defense that we've known in years past. Now, they are going to get Jimmy Smith back off of suspension and a couple of other guys coming back off injuries. So this is basically betting on the infrastructure in Baltimore between GM and head coach and that experience. So I'm buying into that, and I love the addition of Earl Thomas over there. Their next 5 games are at Pittsburgh, home to Cincinnati, at the Seahawks, home to the Patriots, at Cincinnati. So you got a lot of road, home splits there. Minus 125 to win the AFC North. And when it comes to strength of schedule, they have the 8th hardest in the AFC. Another team that is 2-2 are the LA Chargers. They are going to be my number 5 seed. Reasons why is because they finally get Melvin Gordon back, which, you know what, hats off. Let's tip our cap to one Austin Eckler, who has been absolutely on fire. And I think one of the reasons why Melvin Gordon came back is his agent probably told him, yo, man, you're probably losing a lot of money right now because Austin Eckler is balling out. So how valuable are you to the Chargers? I think he's very valuable, especially when you look at what he does on the offensive side of the ball. I have a gut feeling that they'll be using a lot of Austin Eckler, who deserves to be playing, and a lot of Melvin Gordon. No Hunter Henry with that knee injury. Mike Williams, after having a monster year last year with double-digit touchdowns, he hasn't really gotten the ball rolling. We know all about Keenan Allen, the number 1 wide receiver in all your fantasy football leagues for the most part. They have the 3rd hardest schedule in the NFL. Their next 5 games are home to Denver, home to Pittsburgh, at Tennessee, at the Bears, home to the Packers. The funny thing is that last year when they played the Broncos, there was a lot of Broncos fans. And then they played 2 teams that are super popular teams. You got the Steelers. There's going to be a lot of terrible towers there. And there's going to be a lot of cheeseheads in that soccer stadium. They are plus 400 to win their division. But I do like the Bolo Tie and Phillip Rivers to make the playoffs as a 5 seed. And last but not least, I think this team would have had the upset of the year up until this point if their quarterback did not get hurt in that game last week, and that is the Bills of Buffalo. Shout out to the 716, former Buffalo State Bengal myself. The reason why is I think they have the best defense in the AFC. Call it a hot take, and especially when they play at home. They are such a good team. Their next 5 games, at Tennessee, home to Miami, home to the Eagles, home to the Redskins, right? We talked about it before. Very rare do you see 3 consecutive games being played at your venue or out of your venue, and they go to Cleveland as well. Plus 900 to win their division. Probably not going to happen. Definitely not going to happen. This was the biggest kicker for me. Strength of schedule, the easiest in the AFC. So the Bills are currently 3-1. So I have those teams in the playoffs. On the hunt in the AFC are the Browns, the Titans. So I'm not really buying into those teams yet. So just to recap, folks, as we sign off here, going back to the NFC, We got the Eagles, we got the Niners, we got the Saints, we got the Green Bay Packers, we have the Seattle Seahawks or the Rams, depending on what happens on Thursday Night Football. Then we got the Detroit Lions. And then in the AFC side of things, we got the Patriots, we got the Chiefs. That game come December 8th is going to be gigantic. And then we have the Houston Texans, the Baltimore Ravens, and our two wildcard teams are the LA Chargers and the Bills of Buffalo. At the Lamb Show is where you can find me, and I'll catch you guys next time on NFL Daily.